when I woke up in hospital, the nurse said, "What have you done?" And I said, "Well, I think I've broken my femur." And she said, "No, you've lost your leg above the knee." I knew then that everything that I wanted to be since a small boy was over. You know, that was just the start of me sort of going to a shit place, really. I mean, I just started drinking, you know, quite a lot, and I thought, well, this is going to be my lot until I was getting fitted for a prosthetic. Anyway, I went and sat in the hospital, put the leg on, and I said, no, I'm never ever going to wear a prosthetic leg because the feeling was horrible. And then with that, this little red-haired girl came running in. She could have been no more than 3 or 4. She had no legs, and she ran straight in front of me. She had a big smile on her face, and I had that moment. I thought, oh, get a grip of yourself.
Paul Skivington, we haven't met in person, but I saw a picture of you. It's at the Reorg Open. I'll just set the scene for people that don't know. It's a jiu-jitsu competition, but jiu-jitsu competitions, again, for people who don't know, it's a slightly niche pursuit where people try and choke each other and break each other's arms and legs in the form of competition, and they're friends at the end. But this one, the Reorg one, is one with a difference because it's open to all ability levels. And the photo, I wasn't there because I was on holiday, but the photo that I think was everyone's favorite photo from the day was you and Scott Burnham on the podium, proudly holding your prosthetic limbs in the air. I mean, that was awesome. Was this your first competition for you?
It was my first disabled competition. So I normally compete against able-bodied as a middleweight, so that there is some advantages to having one leg. But no, this was my first ever para jiu-jitsu comp, and it was amazing.
So you normally compete against able-bodied people?
Yes.
And how does can't see from where you're sitting now, but you've got one leg. How much of a disadvantage is this? How have you got on in able-bodied?
I think I've had 6 matches, won 1, lost 5. But you know, it's not about that for me personally. I mean, it's something that my kids can come and watch me, you know, just scrap. But you know, in a controlled environment, it's great for them to see, no matter what injuries or whatever you're overcoming, you know, you get on the mat and okay, I've got one leg, but actually that first few seconds, my opponent's trying to figure out, oh shit, he's got one leg. So then there's an advantage in that way. You know, I'm a reasonably big guy. You know, I would probably walk around at about 90 kilos, but because I've got one leg, I compete at middleweight, so 82.3. So there's a bit of a strength advantage. So, you know, it depends on which way you look at it. There are definitely some disadvantages. You know, I can only pull guard, but the rest of it, you know, it's on the ground, it's a good old scrap.
So pulling guard is one of the options people have in jiu-jitsu. So this is when you go to your back and you work all the stuff you can do from your back. So is that sort of your get-go from the beginning then?
I've generally found that it's where I'm going to end up. You know, the minute my opponent starts, you know, using their mobility against me, then, you know, it's only ending one way with me on my back and them on top. So, you know, my defensive game's pretty sound.
Yeah, because there's no getting around the fact that staying on one foot is tough compared to staying on 2 feet, right?
Exactly. And it is super easy to pass my guard. As soon as they switch on to that, actually, he's got a leg, his left leg is missing, let me just go that side. It's like 4 points, 4 points, 4 points. So, you know, I'm hanging on to the neck for dear life and sort of jabbing my stump into their gut.
The best thing about military guys is there's no kind of messing around with politeness.
No.
And you know, the stump, if it's a weapon, if it's what you've got, you're just proudly talking about your stump. Get your stump in there.
Well, I can't wait for the Reorg Open photos to be released, because I think there's a great one of me and Scott, and I am in mount, and I've got my stump in his neck, and I'm pulling his gear, and I'm literally trying to choke him. And his professor said to me, and he said, "Oh, I've never seen that move before."
Did you know each other before? You never met before?
No, never met. I mean, we sort of mixed in similar golfing circles, because because that was the sport I played before. So I never actually met him until we sort of met at the real comp.
And so you have a tough scrap, and then
Yeah,
mates afterwards. Is that how?
yeah, it was amazing. I mean, and actually, in all fairness, it's the same. I don't think I've ever come across a bad person. You know, you have a great scrap on the mats and come off, and it's two-way respect.
Yeah, it is. I think that can be quite hard to understand, because the whole sport, whether it's competing or not, it's a mixture between friendly and violent, I suppose,
Yeah.
which can be hard to convey to other people, because you think if someone's trying to choke you unconscious, you're not going to get on well. But
yeah,
I mean, jiu-jitsu clubs are always like the friendliest places.
Yeah, and and if you get choked or you get armbarred, for example, it's a lesson learned. And that's what I try and take from my jiu-jitsu game. Because I've got a left leg missing, my left arm is always hanging out, and I get caught in an armbar quite a lot, which that's my thing I'm trying to work on now. But they're the lessons that I get from white belts and brown belts, the guys I train with. It doesn't matter who it is, I'm always going to get caught in some way, and it's a lesson that I take away and try and get better.
Yeah, and I guess that's the case really. Whatever ability level you're at, when you start, it's tough.
Yeah.
And you get taught lessons all the time. I guess the best way of looking at it, it's a positive way of looking at it. Beaten up, is another way of looking at it. But yeah, so it's all. And I think if you don't have that humility, it's very hard to do anything. So do you mind going back a little bit to your injury? How long? Who did you serve with?
So I was Sapper, Royal Engineer, and I served with 9 Parachute Squadron Royal Engineers. So I was airborne. I had a motorbike crash in 2001, completely my own fault, and it resulted in me losing a leg.
So this is why. So it was while you were serving. But
yes.
But you had an accident, just nothing to do with.
Well, I wasn't. I was traveling back to camp on duty, but it was completely my own fault. So I got med discharged after doing a couple of stints of Headley Court. And that was that really.
So back in 2001.
Yeah. Just before it all kicked off.
I'll ask you a really stupid question.
Yeah.
If you injure yourself, if you get injured sort of in the line of duty as opposed to an accident, does it make any difference in terms of how you're treated by the army?
No, I don't think it does. I know you hear some horror stories about how guys are treated, but actually, my squadron and the army were very, very good to me. So I think it's the same. I mean, I went through Headley Court. I mean, when I went through Headley Court, there was no prosthetic centre. So, because I did my arm, I damaged my arm as well. I think you're all in there. It doesn't matter how you got there. You just all go through the system.
Yeah, most of the people I've spoken to, they've not sort of said that they were badly treated. It's more the fact that you get a certain level of injury, and that's your career over.
Yeah.
Doing what you were doing. So how was that for you? Is that kind of?
Yeah, that was hard. I mean, I knew, but like when I woke up in hospital, and the nurse said, "What have you done?" And I said, "Well, I think I've broken my femur." And she said, "No, you've lost your leg above the knee." And I knew then that everything that I wanted to be since a small boy was over. So that was tough.
What age are you at this point?
I was 23.
23. So you don't. Okay. So what was that like psychologically? I mean, being in that hospital bed and faced with that reality.
It was pretty shit. It was bad. I mean, it was bad because everything was on me. It was my fault. I couldn't blame anybody else apart from myself, and I knew that. And I knew that the book stops here, and it's taken me a long time to accept that, and nobody's going to say anything bad to me that I haven't already said to myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm over it now. That's ancient history, but I was really hard on myself at the beginning because I knew that I'd messed up big time, and you know, my career was over, life as I knew it was over, and you know, that was just the start of me sort of going to a shit place, really. But
how kind of long and dark did it
well,
get?
I mean, I just started drinking, you know, quite a lot, and I thought, well, this is going to be my lot, because I never saw people with prosthetics, because obviously blokes weren't coming back injured. And I tried out. I mean, this is the story I tell, and it's a 100% true story, but it was my epiphany. So I lost my leg in the February, and come the April, I was getting fitted for a prosthetic, and I couldn't use normal crutches because I'd done my arm in, and I was, you know, just really flat. Anyway, I went to Bournemouth Hospital, tried on my prosthetic leg, and sat in the hospital, put the leg on, and I said no. And I got my mum to get my wheelchair, and she wheeled me out. I said, I'm never ever going to wear a prosthetic leg, because the feeling was horrible. And I was in my wheelchair. My mum was talking to the prosthetist, and then with that, this little red-haired girl came running in. She could have been no more than 3 or 4. She had no legs, and she ran straight in front of me, and she had a big smile on her face. She went straight into the private room, and I had that moment. I thought, right, get a grip of yourself. And then, you know, then I started to wear the prosthetic, and then, although mentally I wasn't recovered, but I sort of thought, right, you're not going to be in a wheelchair all your life. You know, there is some kind of light, and yeah, that was the first step to sort of not recovering, but you know, it was the first positive I'd had in, you know, about 4 months.
So just sort of seeing that little girl run through, almost like she'd been sent to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not a religious person at all, but you know, just to see that, and it happened at exactly the right time. And then, you know, a couple of years ago, I got to pay it back to I saw a mum walking out with a small baby, or a small child, similar age, who had one leg, and I could see the child walking. The mum was obviously distraught seeing her baby and thinking, what's this life going to entail for this child? And I just went to the mum and I said, it's going to be fine. The baby's going to be fine. You could see she was smiling, and it felt really nice. It had come full circle that I was able to give back and just, you know, give a bit of positivity. And that's what I try and do now, like through my social media and stuff, is just like try and be positive, do loads of fizz, do jiu-jitsu, just to show people that no matter what, you can do it, or at least you can do it some way.
It certainly works. All your socials, legless 9, by the way.
Yeah,
Is the 9 any significance, or were just all the other leglesses had gone when you got your social?
9 squadron.
9 squadron. Sorry. Okay, good. I should be paying attention. Yeah, because there's a video which is viewed a ton of times of you hopping down towards the into the sea. A very strong hop, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't think I could hop that far. And are you always on prosthetics when you're not training?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, the only time I put it on when I get up in the morning. Well, I take it off when I spin on my spinning bike, obviously, and I take it off to do jits. But the rest of the time, it's on.
And you get around fine with it. You don't, because people get a lot of pain often with prosthetics. Is it?
I mean, now I'm fine, but you know, I went for about 8 years of having crap legs, and you know, just having a really terrible socket, and you know, I think it's all part of the process, because psychologically. And this is probably the greatest takeaway I could give to new amputees would be, you're never going to have 2 legs. It's never going to feel the same. And the feeling of wearing a prosthetic is completely alien. And it does take time to get used to it. But once you're used to it and you sort of realize this is the new normal, you know, you can move on. But if you continually looking back, which I did for a long time, thinking, oh, crikey, you know, this isn't the same. I can't just break into a jog. I can't just, you know, you have to plan things slightly more ahead. But once you overcome that barrier of, you know, I haven't got 2 legs anymore, then, you know, things kind of improve.
So sort of mixture of physical and psychological barrier, I guess, because you've got to physically get used to it, and you've got to accept, I guess, the fact that this is you from now on, right?
I mean, I wouldn't wear shorts for about 5 years. I was horrendously embarrassed of like my leg and the scars I got on my arm. It was odd because I was quite a confident out, and I think probably that was why I was confident. I was outgoing, and then was quite a robust, strong dude, and then lost a leg, damaged arm, lost a lot of weight, and then sort of retreated into myself.
Yeah, I think this is. I had a point which I had a bad leg injury, and there was a point where I feared I could lose a leg, and this was long before being involved with reorg and all this kind of thing, and meeting people like you. And because I didn't know anyone that had lost a leg, I remember just thinking, well, that would be my life over.
Yeah,
This is a sort of mentality I guess a lot of people have. I wouldn't be able to cope with that
yeah,
kind of thing. And I guess you were maybe in a similar position when it was happening to you, but then at some point you're like, well, I mean, you're actually fine, and I guess no one can come and tell you, oh, you should be happy you've got one leg. But
yeah,
like, I guess all of this is about kind of seeing what you've got,
yeah.
and
I mean, well, as soon as I accepted, I mean, it was my mate said to me, he said, "Well, it's you. This is you now." And and then I thought, okay, right, I'm gonna put shorts on. We were on holiday in Lanzarote, and then I did it, and it was just like it was that, but it was me overcoming something internal. It was nobody else who was putting it on me about, oh God, look at that guy, he's got one leg. It was it was all in my head. And the minute I overcame that, then my life again, that was another positive into my recovery.
was there kind of a point, because you mentioned like the little girl and stuff, but was there a point in your recovery when you really went for it? Because another one of your taglines on your socials is rethinking disability, and I think that's what not only an individual who's faced with it, but the rest of us have to do, not to look at people and think, oh well, this has happened, therefore you're in this category of people who can't do very much, and whereas you actually realize you can not only get on with your life, but you can learn new skills, you can to the point where you can beat able-bodied people in jiu-jitsu competitions. Was there a kind of point where you still realize, hang on, there's a hell of a lot of me left and I can do a hell of a lot with it?
Yeah. So I mean, the biggest moment for me was when I had my son, and I kind of realized that all my thought processes up to that moment was everything was in the past tense. I used to tell myself this, I used to do this, I used to be a paratrooper, and everything was back. And that's nothing. I'm not giving my son anything if I'm just always referring to me before. So I started to play golf, and then I started to compete at playing golf, which that for me was the biggest change in my whole life, was competing again. Because the beauty of the game of golf is the handicap system. A 28 handicapper can play a scratch golfer, and you can have a game. And that feeling of competing, and no one's thinking about the leg or the arm, you're just thinking about me taking this next golf shot, was quite liberating. And then that for me, coupled with having a son, they all happened at sort of a similar time. My life completely changed. Competition and children.
How long ago was your son born?
14 years ago. So
14 years ago.
Yeah. So I had just turned 30 when I had him.
Okay, so 5, 6 years, 7 years after after your injury.
Yeah.
It's still quite a long time, right?
Yeah. It was a long time. I wasn't sort of like always on a downward trajectory in those 7 years. It was just that I was just accepting what I was, and I wasn't pushing myself. I mean, even though I went to university, when I left, didn't have a clue. I went and did architectural technology, at HNC at university. Went to college, did like a design draftsman course. So I'd like academically, and I'd found a new career. But for me, in my head, I'd always revert back to 9 Squadron Sapper. Do you know what I mean? And it was that's not healthy. That's not healthy to always revert back to that type of person. Not that that's anything bad with that, but when you're late 20s, you want to be sort of looking forward and building a future, not just thinking, right, in 1998 I was doing this or I was doing that. You want to, you know, I want to be able to set a good example to the people around me.
Yeah, because your son doesn't want to just know who you were.
Exactly.
He wants to know what you are and and you need to be, setting an example in your daily life rather than just.
Exactly. And you know, we have to build resilience in everybody, you know, and life isn't easy, and you don't know what's around the corner tomorrow. But you know, if you're breathing, you know, this, you can do something. Be grateful and just, you know, try and smash it. And I know that's easy to say that, but I've thought my life was over, you know, in 2001. But you know, fast forward now, I wouldn't change a thing. I am living the best life. You know, I'm happy. I think I'm a good parent. You know, I'm a good role model to lots of people. I've been a boxing coach. You know, I've helped lots and lots of people along the way, and I think it's through them seeing me with one leg and a dodgy arm. But you know, like I used to take great pride in going to. I used to be a boxing coach, and just, you know, being the fittest person on the sandbag, or you know, smashing the circuits a lot harder than, you know, all the boxers. And I used to relish on that, thinking they would look at me thinking, look at that guy, he's got one leg. If he can do it, I can do it. And that's where, you know, the rethinking disability comes from. It's just like, well, if he can do it, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, there's definitely, because the amount of people you talk to who the reason they don't do a thing, could be martial arts, whatever sport, there's a reason, because everyone's got some injury,
Yeah.
haven't they? Everyone over the age of 35 has got like
Yeah.
a bit of a knee or something.
Yeah.
So it's whether you take that as an excuse or a reason to stop, or whether you just find a way around it. And seeing people with bits missing training harder than you is a damn good pick up the arse to anyone who might think their own little problems are enough of a reason to stop.
Exactly. And that's not to belittle other people's problems, because you know, everybody's got something. You know, you don't know what's going on behind those doors. People are always struggling in their own way. But things like jiu-jitsu, you know, it's an escape. The minute you get in the gym and you're on the mat, it's amazing. You know, it's if you know, you're not thinking about anything else other than stopping that bloke from choking you. And that's all you think about for that hour.
It's a very good way to focus the mind if someone's trying to deprive you of your breath, because
exactly.
it's like it pushes all your other small concerns out of the way, at least for a time, and then you go back to look at them again, and you can, you know, look at them with fresh eyes. I can still breathe. Things are okay for now.
Yeah.
It's funny, like, because a lot of people might think martial arts is harder than golf. I've never played golf, but I'm trying to imagine. I can imagine, you know, just from watching that must be quite tricky, right?
Yeah.
Swinging with how do you get about your swing?
The thing about golf, it's all on you. Nobody else. You know, jiu-jitsu, at least, you say, oh well, he was bigger than me, he's stronger than me, or whatever. But golf, you've got the same clubs, you've got the same balls, you know, you've got a target, and if you shank it or whatever, you know, it's on you. You have changed something, and it's a tough game. And when you get into it and you explore golf, it's, you know, it takes up a hell of a lot of time.
This is the thing. I think a lot of people I know play golf, and I think sometimes it's getting away for a whole day from domestic life. I know people who only started playing when they had kids, you know, when they went domestic. Maybe they just all found it a bit much and suddenly need a few hours to themselves. Did you have anyone showing you how it could be done with one leg, or did you have to work that bit out yourself?
No, actually. So there is a charity called the On Course Foundation, and it was started by a guy called John Simpson, who was Nick Faldo's manager. So he had polio as a child, so he was on calipers, and he understood the power of competition and sports. And he went to BLESMA, the British Limbless Ex-Servicemen's Association, and they did some kind of joint event. And then he thought, right, I'm going to make a charity up. And he started this charity, and you know, I was involved in that for a good few years until I broke my arm again, which meant I had to stop playing golf. But you'd get top level golf professionals coming to teach you, and actually for each individual, it's completely different. Do you know what I mean? How your body or your biomechanics of an above knee amputee and a below knee amputee are different to a double amputee. So they have to sort of tailor the tuition to you as an individual. So that's the question. Yeah, I got good coaching.
You got the very best coaching.
Yeah.
So did what point did you get into martial arts then?
So I was a boxing coach for about 6 years, and like I said, I broke my arm. And my son used to box, and my daughter did a little bit. But I really wanted something for my daughter.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I wanted because for me, I think that as a parent, probably one of the greatest gifts you can give your kids is the ability to defend themselves. And so my son had boxing, and I wanted something for my daughter. And 25 miles away from our house was a jiu-jitsu school, Richie Bostock in Yeovil, and that's what we all joined, and that was that. I went on the mats once, tried it, got choked out a few times, thought, all right, this is for me. And then my kids took it up and they loved it as well, or love it as well still.
So did you go intending it just to be for your daughter, or did you go thinking it was for the whole family?
Well, I was definitely going to make my son do it as well. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go as well. So it was definitely led by myself, but with my children in mind. And I'll do it if I can. And the way the class schedule worked, it wasn't much of a difference for me just to hang on and do 45 minutes at the end. And that's what we did. And and it was, like I said, as soon as I got on it, I didn't even get through the trial. I was like, no, sign me up now. We're in.
Well, I have this conversation quite a lot because I take my kids to jiu-jitsu as well. And when I see like parents there a lot, but never training themselves, I sometimes say to them, if you're anyway, why don't you? And then there's always that, oh, well, it's probably, I'm not sure it's for me. Okay, but if you're bringing your kids, you may as well have a go yourself. I think a lot of people have got to that stage of their life, they don't want to do anything sweaty and embarrassing anymore. They're like, if I don't have to do it, I won't. But I mean, there's the leading by example has got to be the best way. Yeah,
but that thing, I take my leg off at the side of the. I used to be so conscious of my stump. It looks like a bloody boneless turkey. It's pretty grim to look at. But I take the leg off and I don't give a shit. That boneless turkey's in your face if we're rolling.
There you go with your military delicate turn of phrase again. Boneless turkey. No, it's fine. Yeah. It's good. It's better to be like that because it's part of you. Get it out there. Everyone else, no one else is having to hide. Their hands or anything like that, are they? So why should you? But on a slightly technical detail, is it because the stump can be quite a problem in terms of putting weight down on it. So do they have like put skin around it? Because
so my stump is it's a bit of a thing.
Let's talk about stumps.
Yeah, let's talk about stump. It is a lethal weapon. So a jiu-jitsu move, knee on belly. So I've obviously got stump on belly, and it is a if it's in the sternum, in the femur, and I'm putting weight through it, it's super uncomfortable. And it's it is what it is. It's not an illegal move.
No, there's nothing in the rules about not using your stump on someone's belly.
No.
So did you? Because a lot of people, I said when you see someone in their first class, you sort of often say to them, "Well, I'll see you again," or not. Because some people, they do one class and they're like, it's not for me. They've had having their heads squashed, people sweating on them and stuff. It's not really for me. But you were pretty sure you were in straight away, were you?
Yeah, 100%. As soon as I did like the first positional sparring and was swept easily, and I thought, right, I want to get better at this. I want to be able to do that.
And how long ago was that now you started training?
Yeah, about 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
And so you're blue belt now?
Blue belt, 2 stripe, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
which is pretty good. You know, my first instructor was a blue belt years ago when there weren't that many
Yeah.
black belts around him. It's a decent grade. And I think people who do other martial arts and you kind of fly through the
Yeah.
belt, they look at someone who's a blue belt and think, well, it's only the first belt you've been
Yeah.
awarded, but it's a long,
Yeah.
hard road, jiu-jitsu, for anyone, really.
Yeah, most definitely.
So there are bumps along the way, but and can be frustrating. But if you're just you kind of let yourself go and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Remove all ego and just
Remove all ego.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And
Just get yourself there. Just turn up. That's all you've got
yeah.
to do.
Well, that's the same, isn't it? It's not who's the best; it's who's still there.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep turning up.
Yeah.
I'm at the stage in my life when towards the end of a class, I'll be thinking of the next day rather than kind of overdoing it and getting injured. Just thinking, am I okay to come back tomorrow? You want to come back the next day, rather than thinking you've got to get loads in today. Because I think you can overdo it, especially when you're not 21 anymore. You can push yourself too hard and end up spending time off the mats, which when we've had lockdowns and everything, it's the last thing you need is
some kind of injury is the new normal when you start jiu-jitsu, though, isn't it? There's always some things niggling.
Yeah, your ribs are always going to hurt.
Yeah,
I'm
always like that as well. Hello, with my neck.
Well, I'm trying now to be always, as far as possible, to be always feeling okay.
Yeah,
not to wake up in pain, because I think I went through a lot of that at blue belt. Thinking this is taking too long, train too hard, but then anyone's going to get injuries. Everyone's got. We've all got the same human body with frailties that bits will give. However tough you think you are, things are going to give. So I'm trying just to think, like, wake up feeling as loose as possible. Yeah, because I've a tendency to get very sort of stiff and not move very well.
Yeah.
So when did you first hear about Reorg? Had you been involved with the charity before that? Before the Open?
No. I mean, I did the emergency service and armed forces competition a couple of years back at Fox's gym, and I think Reorg were there. Well, there was something about Reorg. I mean, I'd seen them. I followed Mark Ormeroyd on social media. So see a bit of his stuff. But no, I mean, I saw as soon as there was a disabled class, because I'd compete anyway. But competing, I always like to compete at middleweight when I compete able body, just because then I've got an advantage in my head of strength. Whereas if I was middle heavy, everybody would be my same weight and same strength, and I'm just going to get squashed for 6 minutes. But when I found out there was an actual para class, I was all over it, and and it was brilliant. Unfortunately, there's only 2 of us, but I think the more events that are inclusive, the better. The better.
Yeah, I think so. It can be a problem getting people in exactly the right categories. Because your level of injuries, amongst amputees, it would be considered like a light flesh wound for some people. You've only lost one leg.
Yeah. Well, actually, technically, the flesh wound is below the knee.
Oh, is that right?
If you've got a kneecap, don't you have a flesh wound?
Oh, okay.
Above the knee is a slight grizz.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I've not put you in too light a category.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. This is another guy, Justin Levine, who he has a spinal cord injury, so he's paraplegic, but he's a great big strong guy, and he kind of uses his upper body strength.
Yeah.
And he was the one that introduced me to the term flesh wound, because it was used disparagingly for people whose injuries weren't quote unquote that bad.
Yeah.
So so it's got to be below the knee to be a flesh wound. So yours above the knee, that qualifies as a proper injury, does it?
Yeah. It's a slight grizz.
A what?
A slight grizz.
Grizz.
It's different. Grizz. It's a bit.
What's that word mean? I don't know that word.
But you got to put a bit of effort in.
Right.
To grizz it.
I've learned a lot of military terms I didn't know.
Yeah,
but grizz is a new one to me.
yeah. Well, that means just to
Like a niggle.
no, it means just like you've just got to keep going. You know,
Okay.
yeah, it's not like a flesh wound who's like skipping in the meadows. It's like I'm dragging the leg behind me, grizzing it, walking up the hill.
A slight grizz. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. It's the best attitude to take to all these things, though, isn't it? The way, take the piss out of each other. Because the last thing you would want, I presume, is people to suddenly go, don't say anything, don't, because it's nothing to be, nothing to hide, is it? It's like
I remember one of my proudest moments is there's a school party and we were on the beach and this little boy came up to me and, excuse me, are you Anakin Skywalker? And I was like, yes, I am. And I was like, it's amazing because kids are just like, wow, look at that robot leg. You Anakin Skywalker? Yes.
Yeah, kids just deal with things better.
Yeah.
It made me think. It made me think what you said earlier. A former colleague of mine's, his daughter sadly lost her lower leg in a car accident, and I was talking to him about it. And as a parent, it was he was going up about it, and I remember him just saying to me, he said, "She's fine with it. We're the ones who are finding it tough." Because she was little, she just got on with her life and very quickly couldn't remember anything different. Whereas as parents, they're looking at it, overthinking everything and thinking what if and all this kind of thing and trying to go back in time. But children just a bit more matter of fact about things, I guess, aren't they?
Yes, definitely.
They don't have this kind of ruminating and fretting about stuff.
But that's the thing, though.
We do.
Like when I was always looking back, there's no good comes from that. Always living the past. Nothing. You just got to draw a line, and so somebody who's had that injury soon quickly realizes that actually to move on, yes, reflect on stuff that's happened and learn from it, but you've got to move forward. And actually, you can put that on anybody. You've got to move forward, and if you keep looking back, it's not good. But certainly with an injury, I mean, my mum was like, she was saying, oh, how's your leg, love? How's your stump? Because the skin used to come away and all that kind of stuff. And I had to say to her, I said, Mum, listen, I walked around the golf course carrying my golf bag. It's not going to get any better than that. For me, that's a huge achievement. There's plenty of people that can't walk around the golf course carrying their golf bag, but I can. So, I'm okay with it. You be okay with it. It's never going to be Paul with 2 legs. That's gone. Paul's now got 4 legs, a running leg and 8 feet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's it.
Was it because you were, just a kid pretty much when it happened? But did it make a difference that you sort of, got your mum there and?
I mean, that's we obviously lived in the block as a soldier, and then I only came home when I was sort of not in Headley Court and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was nice because you want your mum when you're injured.
Yeah, but then I suppose at a certain point you have to think, right, hang on, I'm a grown up. What am I gonna?
Yeah, well, exactly. But then that's all part of the process because again, I mean, I joined the army young. I was a boy soldier, so you leave home at 16, go in the army, and then you just back at 23, you're back, and you're a completely different person. In those years, you've changed immeasurably because you're not a child, you're a man. But then when you have an injury, I mean, I had my arm like that for 3 months. So so you're actually reliant on somebody for pretty much everything, and then you sort of can't have. I'm an independent person here. You actually need help because you're either stuck upstairs, you can't get downstairs, or can't get on the toilet, can't get off the toilet. All these things, which you've got to overcome, and it's quite nice to have your mum instead of somebody else.
How well did your arm recover?
Yeah, not too well. So I got what's called compartment syndrome. That's basically where your muscles knot up and they cut off the blood supply. So then had like a skin graft to release the pressure. Had quite a lot of metal work in it, and then I broke it again when when I was a boxing coach sparring, I didn't realise that the junction between the metal and the bone was a weak point. So that actually what ended my golfing career, because my arm snapped and I had to have another operation. So the arm is okay, but it's, you know, it's probably about 40% weaker. I'm left-handed, but you know, but it's there. You know, I've got dexterity.
But it's not vulnerable from doing jiu-jitsu and things. It's just.
Well, in all fairness, I mean, it's one of the things I don't mess about with. As soon as the arm's caught, I mean, I'm very protective of it, but if it gets caught, I tap straight away. I don't even mess with it.
Okay. I know we were talking about looking forward rather than back. Do you have fond memories of your time as a paratrooper?
Yes. Yeah, but then you always look back with rose-tinted spectacles, don't you? You know, I mean, it was a great time, and I'll do everything all over again. You know, obviously make some changes, but yeah, I'm immensely proud. I mean, I was immensely proud yesterday watching Her Majesty's funeral, and I'm thinking, you know, I took an oath, you know, to the Queen, and I was proud of that, and I could convey that to my children. You know, so I'm exceptionally proud. I wouldn't change it, but you know, that part of my life is gone. I'm now, you know, moving on to other things.
Yeah, I mean, like part of what Real does. I mean, people who've had injuries is probably the thing that people notice most, but partly it's about supporting people that find it difficult to leave, because I think I mean, you obviously didn't choose to leave in the way you did, but the camaraderie you had, this is what you hear from everyone, the camaraderie you have when you're and not just camaraderie, but how focused you are on doing an important job. You know, it's hard to think of a more vital thing when, you know, you're putting your life on the line for Queen and country, as it was, and when that gets taken away, whether it's people injured and they have to leave, or whether it's just their time's up or they've left for whatever reason, it can be really hard. And for someone like me who's never been in the military, it's hard to imagine just how kind of deep that bond is, and how it's difficult to find other things that test you and make you feel as vital as when you are in the military. So because yours ended with injury, did you have similar sort of feelings, or were you just more thinking about your own situation, or were you?
No, I mean, you do. Obviously, when you're in the military, you are with somebody 24/7. You work, you socialize, everything is together. I mean, the bond, you can't, unless you know it, you can't really explain it to somebody, because you know everybody's got a best mate. You know, but actually being in the military, where you do everything together, the lads. Well, in my case, it was always with the blokes. The lads, the crack was immense. You know, it was awesome, and you can see why people want to hang on to that. But I was very aware, and that actually I didn't want to be that guy that always goes back to every single reunion. Is that, you know, always there, because I remember being a young sapper, and the old sweats would come back, and you just think, come on, move on. You know, this is our time now. This is the thing. You know, you have your time there, enjoy it, but don't try and hang on to it. That was for me personally.
You said sorry. What, the old sweats had come back? What does that mean?
So like when you were a young 19-year-old there, then you'd get like the guys that were there 20 years ago would come back, and they'd be in the bar, and you know, and then
the old sweats. That means the older guys.
Older guys, yeah.
Right.
And, you know, because at the end of the day, it's a factory. You know, you're a number. Bam, 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 bam. And that was also another hard thing. You know, once you're out, you're out. That's it. You're gone. And all care post service is given by charities. You know, it's not given by the military. That's quite a big thing.
It's tough, isn't it? Like everyone I've spoken to, they're loyal, right? They're always, you know, if you ask a question about how they were treated, you know, because I've spoken to people that have left in all different ways, you know, people that have left because of PTSD, people have left of various reasons, and no one wants to slag off the unit. You know, no one wants to, because they're always very aware of, if the conversation's going there, I'm loyal to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, someone like me can ask questions because I don't have the loyalty, but there are times when you feel, you know, more could be done. Particularly, one thing that comes up is with PTSD. One guy I spoke to, he said he was between tours and he was having some problems, and he wanted to speak to someone. He wanted to speak to a therapist, but he found one outside.
Yeah.
And then sort of stopped seeing the therapist because he thought people might find out, because he was worried that he would then be seen as someone with problems.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's, you know, it's difficult because you want people to be able to talk about their problems, but also you need people who are ready to go and fight.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not surprising that it's a difficult thing for people to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, if you've got something missing, do you know what I mean? Then you've got, I mean, I'm very fortunate that, you know, I haven't suffered from PTSD. You know, my leg and everything has been internal. You know, I've come through everything. That's not to say that I didn't struggle with having one leg, but I think that's just part of the process, isn't it? You know, you have an injury and then you sort of, you get to the position where you are now, you're the new you. But guys with PTSD, I mean, I certainly know that they, you know, the military's trying, and they've opened all those, like Tedworth House is my local one, you know, where you can go and stuff. So I think that the military's trying, but, you know, it's like a cargo ship, you know, it takes forever to turn around.
Yeah, this is another thing here, anything new you want to introduce takes a long time.
Yeah.
And I suppose, so yeah, you want the military's all about overcoming fears and weaknesses and getting on with the job.
Yeah.
And that's the right way to do it. But I guess there comes a point where, you know, if it's people kind of hushing up stuff that's wrong with them just because they don't want to put their head above the parapet, then
yeah, I mean, I'm almost certain now that, you know, if somebody has a mental health problem, that, you know, their sort of immediate bosses will be all over that, I would imagine. I mean, I left the army in 2000. When did I say that?
2001, you said.
Yeah, 2001. I left the army in 2003.
Any other dates you want help with, or?
Yeah, well,
I'm glad I knew the answer.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I left in 2003. Yeah, that's right. So I left in 2003, but obviously subsequently, you know, there's obviously been a big drive in sort of the care of veterans. You know, so people are looked after better. I mean, for example, when I've got my first prosthetic leg, it was a rubbish one. But the one I've got now is an amazing one. So you can see like the evolution of the care of veterans just through my prosthetic.
Yeah, but that's all through charity, you're saying?
No, that's not. That's through the funding panel. So like medical stuff, but anything like,
okay,
you know, like getting your bathroom, getting a wet room in your bathroom stuff, you know, that was given, you know, Blesma helped me with that. Do you know what I mean? So not that I would expect the Ministry of Defence to do that. You know, they've, like I say, you're a number, and then you're in on Monday, you're out on Tuesday, somebody's replaced you by Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be like that. It can't be this continual cycle of looking back.
No. Do you hang out with a lot of ex-military, or do you?
No, not really. I mean, I see there's a couple of guys at the there's a serving guy, and there's a veteran at jiu-jitsu. So, but not, you know, I don't purposely sort of hang around. I mean, you kind of gravitate towards those people anyway. If you're in a group, you're going to gravitate to those kinds of people anyway. But no, I mean, I don't. I mean, I did actually. Funny enough, at the beginning of the year, I took a group of veterans, because I'm massively into cold water. Took a group of veterans sea swimming and doing some breath work. Me and my brother, which was quite cool.
Breath work.
Yeah, breath work and cold swimming, cold water exposure.
Oh, so Wim Hof stuff.
Wim Hof kind of stuff, yeah.
Oh, how did you get into that?
Yeah, my brother actually. My brother hurt his back. He got a rugby injury, and he sort of designed this cold shower system. But just for I've got a cold shower outside, so every morning I'm in my cold shower, because for me it's just amazing.
And what does it do for you, that?
So the benefits of cold water. The first thing, if the water is less than 15 degrees, you go into your fight or flight, because nobody really wants to get in cold water, but you overcome that. So it improves your mental agility. It makes your heart beat, but your cardiovascular system improves your cardiovascular system. It's good for weight loss. There's all sorts of things, but for me personally, I just feel amazing as soon as I come out the cold.
Do you have to psych yourself up before you go in, or are you just so used to it now that you're
straight underneath it, turn it straight on?
And how long are you in there?
I don't know, as long as it takes me to shower.
Right. Oh, so always cold.
Always cold, yeah.
You only have cold showers.
I treated myself to a warm bath yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, because you're worth it. How often do you feel you're worth that kind of thing? Is it so mostly cold?
Mostly cold.
And the breath work is holding your breath.
No, so I personally do the the 30 breaths, and then hold on the exhale and do that 3 times, and you'll find that you can hold your breath for about 2 or 3 minutes.
It's good. I did a podcast way back with a guy called Richie Bostock. He did a Wim Hof course. So I think he's a guy in the UK that does a lot of that kind of thing, and he does seminar stuff. I was amazed how long I could hold my breath for.
Yeah.
Because I still do it, and it's very easy. You can, if your mind's not in the right place, after 30 seconds, you could be like desperate for breath. But if you do it right, and it's a mental game, really, because
exactly
he told me, and which is really correct, that you're not gonna, you've got plenty of oxygen in your body.
Yeah.
It's just you start to panic. And that's not your body running out of oxygen. It's just a survival instinct that you have that tells you that you must breathe. So you give into it. But if you can overcome that,
yeah, that's the fight or flight thing.
You've gone wobbly. Is that me?
No, it's not you. My stand just fell off.
Oh, did it?
So I'm now holding my phone. Is that okay or not?
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. I'm probably getting to the point I've taken up enough of your time anyway, because I think I've asked you the things I needed to do. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, we talked a little bit about pain. Do you? Yeah. Is breath work and cold water, is that a pain remedy definitely, to an extent?
Yeah, phantom pain has all but gone through cold water exposure.
Really?
Yeah, for me personally.
So phantom pain, you get pain in the limb that's no longer there?
Yes.
And how bad did it get?
Yeah, pretty bad actually. It was horrible.
So pretty bad, is that understatement for a kind of all-consuming horror?
Yeah. So you'd be like a 5 to 10 second burst that feel like you've been electrocuted.
Really?
Yeah, in your stump. So that's how it happened for me. But yeah, since I've been doing the cold stuff, for a couple of years, I haven't had a bout of it. Or if I have had it, it's not bad.
So you get the phantom pain. Is obviously there's there's nothing you can do about it in terms of you can't therapize a non-existent.
You have to grizz it.
You have to grizz it.
You have to grizz it.
Not only an important new word, but a good new concept of grizzing through things.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just grizzed through for a while, and then you heard about cold water therapy, and it's all but gone.
I mean, I grew up by the sea, so I was always in the water. But like cold showering, that was my brother who sort of got me onto it. And yeah, it's amazing.
So were you taking medication and stuff to fight it, or?
Well, I did. I used to take tramadol. So I don't know if you've ever had the experience of tramadol. It's like the worst drug ever.
Horrific.
Yeah, it used to send me doolally. And yeah, so I used to be on that. Not all the time, but when the phantom pain was quite bad. And it would be like once a month. I'd have to take it, for a day or something. But yeah, fortunately, I've not touched that stuff for a few years now.
Yeah, I was on the tramadol for a while. Horrendous drug. Doesn't even help with the pain. Just makes you groggy and sad. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they're prescribing it to people.
No.
I think opiates are one thing when you're in hospital recovering from an operation. I think you probably do need something like that. But to give it to you to use on a daily basis, which is what a lot of GPs will do, is crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
As I say, it doesn't even help with the pain after a while. No. I remember being on it and saying to the doctor, I want to stop, and he was like, "Oh, don't stop." So I just stopped, had really bad cold turkey.
Yeah.
For like one day, and then was fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, the pain was not even there. So I'm taking this stuff to ruining my life for no good reason. So just making yourself a sort of drug addict for no reason. It's crazy. So yeah, best to avoid the tramadol at all costs. I think.
Have a cold bath or a cold shower.
Yeah. Oh mate, that's awesome. Listen. So your socials, your legless 9 on everything, on Insta and
or Rethinking Disability on YouTube.
Rethinking Disability on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's all the same stuff. It's just me doing phys, and just getting that message out there that no matter what your situation is, just give it a go.
Well, mate, you're doing an amazing job, and you definitely are making me and lots of other people rethink disability. So,
brilliant,
fantastic, Paul Skivington. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Rich. Thanks very much, mate.